Dear students, welcome to Learn English. Today's lesson is going to be about safety first. We are going to shed light upon advertising, safety, and consumers. Let's get started. Number 1. Sources of our food. We can identify two sources of our food, namely plants and animals. For example, we can get vegetables, fruit, rice, and maize from plants. The second main source of our food is animals. For example, we can get milk from cows, we can get honey from bees, and we can get meat from cows, hens, etc. We can also get eggs from animals. So plants and animals are the two main sources of our food. However, we have another source of our food, which is processed food. So what is processed food? Processed food is the food which has been treated with chemicals, namely additives, for example, preservatives, colorants, and flavorings. So processed food is a combination of plants, namely vegetables, fruits, rice, etc., and animals. However, the difference between plants and animals food and processed food is that processed food is treated. It means it has additives. However, plants and animals, they are natural. So processed food, as I have already mentioned, has additives, namely preservatives. So preservatives, they are chemicals which are added to food so that we can preserve it for a long time, so that food lasts for a long time. For example, we add preservatives to yogurt so that it doesn't expire, so that it expires after 20 days, for example. We also add colorants to processed food so that we make the food looks attractive. It looks attractive to the consumers by changing the color of food. So if we want to change the color of the food, we add coloring. Another chemical substance, another additive which we add to food, to processed food, is flavoring. So flavoring, or we add flavorings so that we improve the taste of food. For example, we add the flavor of strawberry to yogurt so that we improve the taste of yogurt, for example. So let's recapitulate. We have two main sources of our food, namely plants and animals. For example, vegetables, fruits, and rice are plants. And another example is animal. So we can get from animals milk, meat, eggs, honey, etc. So plants and animals are the two main sources of our food. However, we have another source of our food which is a combination of plants and animals. We call it processed food. The difference between plants and animals and processed food is that plants and animals are natural food. However, processed food is not natural because it contains chemicals that we call additives. We can identify three additives that we add to food, which are preservatives. We add preservatives so that we preserve the food for a long time. We add colorants so that we make the food looks attractive. And we add flavoring so that we improve the taste of food. So you should know that the additives are chemical substances, therefore they are not healthy. They are harmful for our health. Now we move on to farming methods. Now, the question that we should ask now is, now, who is responsible for providing us with food, or who produces food for us? So, people who are responsible for producing vegetables, fruit, and animal meat and animal uh, milk, etc. for us are farmers. So farmers use different farming methods so that they produce vegetables, they produce food, they produce rice, they also raise cattle, namely, mutton and cows, so that they produce and they provide the consumers with meat. So farmers use different farming methods, and we can identify two farming methods which are used by farmers so that they provide consumers with food. These two farming methods are called organic farming and conventional farming. So you should know that organic farming gives us organic food and conventional farming gives us conventional food. So what is organic farming and what is conventional farming? So organic farming is the farming which doesn't use chemicals. It doesn't use chemical substances to grow food. So organic food is a natural food. Is a natural food, or it's a natural method of growing crops and raising cattle. So farmers use no chemicals. They only grow crops, they only grow vegetables and fruit naturally. They also raise cattle, namely cows and muttons, naturally. So organic farming gives us organic food, and organic food has no chemicals. Therefore, it is healthy. It is a safe food to consume. On the other hand, we have conventional farming. So by contrast, conventional farming uses chemicals. So conventional farmers, they use chemicals to raise animals, to raise cattle. They also use chemicals to grow crops, to grow vegetables and fruits. For example, conventional farmers, they use pesticides. They also use fertilizers. They use chemical fertilizers so that they grow crops rapidly, so that they grow crops rapidly, and even the crops are bigger if compared to organic farming. They also use growth hormones and antibiotics for animals so that animal grow rapidly, so that animal gain weight and fat. So this is conventional farming. So conventional farming is when farmers use chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides for crops, for plants, and when they use growth hormones and antibiotics for animals so that they grow rapidly and gain weight and fat. So organic farming is healthy and safe, but conventional farming or conventional food is harmful and dangerous for consumers, for the health of consumers, because the farmers use chemical pesticides, chemical fertilizers, and growth hormones, which are dangerous, which are harmful for consumers. Now we move on to another type of food. So we have organic food, we have conventional food. Now a third type of food is called genetically modified food. We refer to it as GMF. So what is genetically modified food? Genetically modified food is a food produced from plants or animals whose DNA has been altered, has been changed through genetic engineering. So genetically modified food is when when farmer modifies the genes, the DNA of of plants, of vegetables, of fruits, and also of animal, so that they produce a new type of food or a mixed food. Like the example we have in the picture, you have mixed genes of orange and apple. So we have a new product, a new crop, which is apple orange. So genetically modified food is when farmers, when engineers modify, alter, and change the genes and DNA of plants and of animals, so that they produce either a new mixture of crops, new mixture of animals, and or to improve the quality of crops, the quality of animals, or the quality of the products which are coming from animals. So this is genetically modified food. Now, the question is whether genetically modified food is harmful or harmless, or is it dangerous or not? To answer this question, we should talk about the debate which is going on between people who are in favor of genetically modified food and people who are against. So, genetically modified food actually is both harmful and harmless. Why? Because we don't have evidence to support uh, either position, whether it's good or bad. So the debate is still going on between people who are in favor and people who are against genetically modified food, because we don't have evidence. However, in my personal point of view, genetically modified food is not a natural food, therefore I would consider it as harmful, despite the fact that we don't have evidence, but because it's not natural, it's not healthy. Now we move on to food safety. So we have been talking about the different sources of food. We said that we have three sources of food. We have plants, for example, vegetables and rice and fruit, and also we have animals, which we can get meat, eggs, honey, etc. The third type of food, or the third source of our food, is processed food. Processed food is a mixture between plants and animals. However, the main difference is that processed food has additives, preservatives, flavorings, and colorants. And also we talked about the two type of farming, or the two method of farming. We have organic farming, which gives us organic food. Organic farmers, they use no chemicals. On the other hand, conventional farmers, they use chemicals to grow their crops and to raise their animals. The third type of food is genetically modified food, where farmers modify and alter the genes of products, the genes of food, of animals, and of plants. Now we have arrived to food safety. We can identify two types of food. We have safe food and unsafe food. So, safe food is organic food. We have already explained, we have already introduced organic food. Organic food is the food which has no chemicals. It's natural food. Therefore, it is safe food. On the other hand, we have a lot of types of unsafe food. Number one, conventional food. Conventional food is the food which has chemicals. It has chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides. It has been used by farmers so that to grow crops. So conventional food is dangerous, or conventional food is harmful and dangerous. We move on to the second type, which is processed food. Processed food is also unsafe food. Why? Because it has additives. It has chemical additives, and we identified three: preservatives, colorants, and flavorings. The three of them are considered as chemical substances which are dangerous, which are harmful for our health. So, processed food is unsafe food as well. The third type of unsafe food is junk food and fast food. So junk food and fast food are two examples of processed food that belong to processed food. So junk food and fast food are food which contains a lot of sugar, a lot of fats as well. Therefore, they may cause a lot of diseases such as blood pressure and diabetes. So junk food and fast food are not recommended. They are unsafe because they may cause obesity. They may cause you to gain weight, so you will put on weight. And you know, obesity is a disease. Obesity is a dangerous disease. So junk food and fast food are unsafe food and they are unhealthy food. The fourth type of unsafe food is genetically modified food. So genetically modified food is unsafe because we don't have a scientific evidence to argue that it's safe. Therefore, we consider it as unsafe food because it's not natural food. So these are the four types of unsafe food or unhealthy food that you should avoid consuming. Now we move on to the consequences of consuming unhealthy or unsafe food. So what are the consequences of consuming unhealthy food? Number one, food poisoning and intoxication. Number two, obesity, which is the fact of being overweight. Consuming junk food and fast food are the two main reasons, are the two main causes of obesity. The third consequence of consuming unsafe food is diseases such as diabetes, when you consume a lot of sugar, high blood pressure, cancer, and heart attacks. These are three of the main consequences of consuming unsafe food. Now we are going to shed light upon advertising. But before we start discussing advertising, we should answer the following question. Why do you think consumers know that processed food, such as junk food and fast food, are harmful and dangerous for the health of human beings, and they still buy and consume fast food and conventional food? The answer to this question is as follows. So, a lot of consumers know that junk food and processed food is dangerous for their health and they still consume and buy them because they are manipulated and influenced by advertising. So, what is advertising? Advertising is the promotion of products and services. Advertising is a synonym of publicity. So advertisers or companies, they promote their products and services by persuading consumers to buy them. For example, the advertisers, they may promote their products such as juice, pizza, cars, etc. They may also promote their services such as internet or booking a hotel or delivery, etc. So advertising is publicity and it is the promotion of products and services. So advertisers, they try to persuade consumers to buy their products or services. Now we move on to advertisement. Advertisement or advert or sometimes ad, they mean the same thing. So advertisement is the realization of advertising. So advertisement, it can be a picture or a short film or a song that promotes a particular product or service. So advertisement tries to persuade people to buy a product or a service. We can identify two types of advertisement. We have traditional advertisement and modern or digital advertisement. Traditional advertisement, they refers to, or we can find them on newspapers, on the TV, on the radio, etc. Whereas digital or modern advertisement, we find them online on the internet. So we might find advertisement on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, on social media. So advertisement, it can be a picture, a short film, or a song. Now we move on to the advantages and disadvantages of advertising. The topic of advertising is controversial and debatable. So we can identify two groups of people. Group one, they believe that advertising is positive, advertising is advantageous. Whereas the second group believes that advertising or advertisements is disadvantages and therefore it's negative. So we are going to list down some of the arguments of both group of people. Group who believes that advertising is positive and the group who believes that advertising is negative. We're going to start with the advantages of advertising. So some people believe that advertising is positive because it's essential for businesses to promote their products and services. So it is essential for companies and firms to promote and advertise for their products and services. So when a company produces a new product or a new service, people or consumers, they don't know that this particular product exists. Therefore, advertising is so important for the companies and also for the consumers so that they know about the existence of this particular product. So advertising is positive because it makes products and services known for consumers and customers. The second argument, which is in favor of advertising, is individuals and companies can earn money thanks to ads, meaning advertisements. So individuals and companies can earn a lot of money thanks to advertising. So advertising can create vacancies. Advertising can create employment. It can open up the doors for the youth to have a job, to have a permanent job. So individuals and companies can earn a lot of money thanks to advertising, and this is something positive because it creates a lot of vacancies. And also it reduces unemployment. The third argument, which is in favor of advertising, is that advertising is positive because it sponsors social events like sport competitions. So, hadn't we had advertising, we wouldn't have been able to watch a football match. We wouldn't have been able to afford watching a football match. So, thanks to advertising, we can watch our favorite football team live or online because advertisers, they pay money or they sponsor these social events such as football matches or car racing or even movies. So advertising is positive because it sponsors social events and make it available for people to watch on TV or to watch online on the internet. Now we move on to the disadvantages of advertising. So advertising can be negative because it manipulates people to buy products they don't need. So sometimes consumers, they don't need a particular product. However, when they watch an advertisement on TV and they see that an actor or their favorite celebrity or their favorite football player is using that particular product, so they will be manipulated to buy that particular product although they don't need it, although they have that product, but because when they watch TV, they see a celebrity using that particular product, they will be manipulated to buy it. For example, imagine that a person who really likes Cristiano Ronaldo. So when he watches on the TV, on an advertisement for watches, that Cristiano Ronaldo is using that particular brand of watch. So he would say that I would like to have that watch just because Cristiano Ronaldo, my favorite person, is using it. So he will be manipulated to buy that particular product despite the fact that he doesn't need it. So advertisements, people argue that advertisement or advertising is an unethical behavior because it manipulates people to buy products they don't need. The second argument, which is against advertising, or one of the disadvantages of advertising, is that it encourages children to purchase, meaning to buy, junk food. So when children watch TV and they watch advertisements on the TV, they will be encouraged, they will be manipulated, and they will be influenced to buy junk food, for example pizza or sandwiches or hamburger, just because they watch it on TV. So in this sense, advertising, it can be negative because it encourages children to purchase junk food. And junk food is unhealthy, is unsafe food because it causes a lot of diseases such as obesity, and it causes overweight. Another argument which is against advertising is that advertising rises the prices of products. So advertising sometimes rises the prices of products because companies and businesses they spend a huge amount of money on advertisements. So advertisements causes an arm and a leg. It means they are so expensive. So in this sense, they need to compensate the money spent on advertising. So who do you think is going to compensate for the money paid for advertising? Simply, it is the consumer. Consumers will pay off. They will compensate the amount of money which is spent on advertising. How? By rising the price of products. So most of the time when you find a product which is advertised on TV or on the internet, you will find that the prices of this product is so expensive. So one of the disadvantages of advertising is that unnecessary rise in the prices of products. So advertised products always will have higher prices than products which are not advertised. So this is a summary of the advantages and disadvantages of advertising. You might find other arguments. We have so many arguments. So I tried to sum up some of the arguments of the two positions. Thank you very much indeed, dear students. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye.